All right. Well, yeah. Well, thanks for the introduction. So I guess I'll go ahead and get started. I'm gonna try to share my screen here, and um, all right. Is that working for everybody? All right, great. So first, I thought I would start off and share a brief history just for how my vision for Oxford Music Academy got started. So yeah, I first came to Oxford specifically in 2012 when I started my master's in piano performance at Miami University. And by the time I graduated in 2014, my long-term goal was to start a music academy. And if I'm completely honest, I didn't expect that to be in Oxford. My first year after graduation, though, I stayed in the area doing a few part-time jobs as a musician. I taught at Miami as an adjunct and accompanied for the Men's Glee Club. And as I was doing those jobs, I was giving a few private piano lessons in students' homes. So the academy just started as a single traveling piano studio. And after, I guess, just 1 year, my private studio grew to over 30 students. And when I eventually bought a home in Oxford, that's when I guess, started my home piano studio in the summer of 2016. And I eventually maxed out at 64 private students that I was teaching there. And so I quickly realized that there was a great need for music teachers in Oxford. Um, and many of my own students, they were asking if I knew instructors who would teach other instruments. And I didn't really know of anybody in the area to recommend for these particular instruments. So that's when my vision for a local music academy began. So I guess after solely giving piano lessons for a while, I officially started the name Oxford Music Academy in January of 2017. So it was a home-based business. The other instructors started off just giving a couple lessons out of my home as well. And I guess you could say that we officially outgrew the space when this happened. So long story short, we were no longer able to continue giving that many lessons from a home because of zoning restrictions, which led to us finding the commercial space that we're currently in now. So we moved to this space in November of 2018. We are in the Bishop Square Plaza, which is across the street from TJ Maxx, next to the Oxford Lane Library, and we're in an upstairs space above Great Clips. I don't know if you can see my mouse on your screen, but we're in this building here, and then we're in the top left corner up there above Great Clips. So considering the circumstances, we needed to find a location rather quickly, but I'm quite happy with where we ended up. Parents have loved having the library right next door in addition to some shopping across the street. So they often drop their kids off for lessons and go and run some errands and come back to pick them up after the lesson. So as far as the different instruments that we offered, so when I started, the only instrument I taught was piano, but now we have someone specifically for jazz piano. We have voice, drums, guitar, bass guitar, mandolin, ukulele, violin, viola, cello, flutes, piccolo, saxophone, trombone, and we also have some music theory classes. So we're currently giving lessons 7 days per week. We teach really any level and any age. The whole pandemic situation has forced us to make certain changes, and one of those changes was the addition of online lessons. And so now, after things have opened back up, we're currently offering in-person and online lessons. And the interesting thing is, before the pandemic, online lessons didn't really seem to be something that students or parents wanted. And when we were suddenly forced to go online, several discovered that they can actually be very effective and beneficial for students, especially as a short-term solution for travel, if anybody's just out of town or visiting family, or if anyone has transportation issues or whatever the situation might be. And even after experiencing it, some students have decided that they want to stay online, permanently, at least for now. So one thing that we didn't anticipate before the pandemic began was now we have a way to serve students and teachers who move out of the area and they want to continue lessons with their same instructors. So For example, there's a student who recently moved to Columbus who wanted to continue lessons with their teachers. There's one, I think, as far as Utah now, who's doing the same thing. And even a few more have talked to us who are going to be leaving, shortly. One's going to be in Luxembourg for a little bit, another one in China. So they're able to continue lessons with their instructors who they've grown attached to. There's also a couple of teachers who've moved out of the area and they've been able to teach remotely as well. One's in Louisville, another one's in Oregon. So the new kind of surprise edition of online lessons is just one way that we sort of made the most out of a tough situation. But I guess moving on, we also, we teach children, we teach college students, we have working adults and retirees of all ages and abilities taking lessons. I think we've had students as young as 3 years old, and I think as old as 83 years old. So quite a variety of students that you'll see around at the Academy. We have morning, afternoon, and evening times available, so we can pretty much find a time that fits with anyone's schedule. All of our students, they have recital opportunities at least twice per year. We try to give them a chance to perform. Here is a picture from our, I guess it was this winter recital this last year, which was held in Sowers Recital Hall at Miami University. And one of the things I've grown to appreciate, when I was a single teacher studio, students often had to miss out on the recital because there was really only one option. And if a student wasn't available, unfortunately, they just had to miss out. So typically every time we have a recital, we have 3 to 4 options on the same weekend so students can pick a time that works best for them. We encourage our students to participate in a lot of performance opportunities outside of the Academy as well. Last spring, a lot of our students sang in the Oxford Sings, which was hosted at the Oxford Community Arts Center. So this was a fundraising concert. This particular one was for Destination Imagination. In October, our students volunteered at the TRI's Celebrity Reader Program. So we read preschool students a short story about music, and several of our students, they got to share about their instruments, and others had to, they also were able to perform for the students as well. So I think we had a mix of piano, ukulele, violin, and voice students at this particular one. If anyone was at the Empty Bowls in November, the music was provided by a number of our students there as well. And I guess one of the more recent ones too, in December, if you were at the Uptown Holiday Festival, our students performed on stage there. And that was a unique challenge for some students because of performing outside in such cold weather. But with some warm gloves and some mittens and even some hand warmers, I think they all made it through okay. So yeah, I mentioned recital opportunities. They also participate in outside festivals. So at the Academy, we're members of several professional music organizations like the Ohio Federation of Music Clubs, the National Federation, as well as the Music Teachers National Association. And this just gives students the chance to participate in various events outside of the Academy. In the latest Junior Music Festival, over 97% of our students who participated, they earned a superior rating, which is the highest possible rating you can get in that particular event. So just a few other highlights. We have multiple teachers for each instrument. So some of our teachers have multiple master's degrees in music and have performed and taught professionally for several decades, and others might just be starting out their teaching career. So we understand that every student has their own unique goals, and we're glad to have several teachers available so that students can find the one that works best for them. And let's see, yeah, one of the more unique incentive programs that we offer is called the Musical Ladder System, which is a national music award system that we subscribe to, and this has proven to be a huge motivating factor for students. I think of it as sort of the musical equivalent to the black belt karate system in a way. So you can see here on the side, students can earn wristbands and trophies for different levels. So starting out, every 3 months, a student will be assigned a challenge or a goal with their teacher, if it's polishing a certain piece they're working on, or maybe memorizing a piece, or doing some, note naming flashcards, and whatever it is, whenever the student reaches that goal, they earn a wristband. And then at some levels, they also earn a trophy in addition to the wristband. So, that's kind of been a big motivating factor. Students kind of always get big eyes when they get their first trophy and they see the display here. Here's just another visual of that has the different levels. From 3 months when they first start, they get a wristband. At 6 months, they get a wristband and a trophy, and they keep working their way up from the bottom to the top. And this particular image stops at 60 months, but I think there's a 10-year trophy is the biggest one, which is 4 feet tall, I think. So they have to work for quite a while to get that one. So currently, I think just this last July, since the Academy, we've been around for 3.5 years, they've just, some of our students have earned their superior wristband. So that's where our students are at with this now. I was sort of told by some and kind of heard through the grapevine that a music academy wouldn't really be able to exist in Oxford, which I guess maybe was just solely based on its size compared to larger cities and suburbs where you might find a lot more academies like this around. But I've discovered, and I think several clients are discovering, just the benefits of having an academy environment versus like a single music teacher's home. One of the things is, just added convenience for families. I know that parents have a difficult task kind of juggling their schedules and balancing all of the activities that their kids participate in. So at the Academy, we really work hard to create the perfect schedules for families. So for example, let's say there's 2 kids who are interested in multiple instruments. We try to find the time that works best for them so they can take, for example, voice and guitar lessons at the same time in the same place. And so sometimes we have multiple siblings at one time. Let's see, in this photo you can see 3 siblings. They're all in the same piano class together. And the certificates they're holding, those are their superior certificates from the Junior Music Festival that they participated in this last spring. So we have multiple siblings at one time. Sometimes we have parents and child who take lessons together, and even a husband and wife couple. So whatever it is, we work hard to make the schedules convenient for them. Another benefit is just the sense of community around the Academy. When I took lessons growing up, it was in my piano teacher's living room, and I would only see the student right before or right after me in passing. So music was always a solitary event, and it wasn't until I was in high school and I had the opportunity to join a summer music camp that I discovered the added enjoyment from making music with others. So at the Academy, we create opportunities for students to rehearse and to perform with each other by encouraging them to do ensembles. When a student knows they're going to be working with another student, it always motivates them a little bit more to practice extra. We have occasional group classes that students can meet each other, play games with each other, and also learn together. And finally, in our recitals, we have a mix of all of the instruments performing. It's not just piano students together or just guitar students together. So they can really be encouraged and motivated from seeing their friends perform as well. And then another benefit that I've just sort of enjoyed myself is teacher collaboration. So sometimes being an independent music teacher can often be a lonely experience as well. But at the Academy, since we bring several teachers together, we enjoy the opportunity to collaborate with each other, kind of throw ideas past each other, and really learn from each other as well. So I think that just in a way is something that enhances the music teaching profession here in Oxford. Let's see. Yeah, so I wanted to move to something just a little kind of more specific to highlight a certain program that we have. And this is called the Accelerated Piano Program. So it's one of the more unique options, and because of that, a lot of people are curious about how it works because it's so different from just the traditional one-on-one private lesson. So what it is, it's a unique type of group class where students are still able to learn independently and at their own pace. And I don't know of anywhere else in the area that offers anything like it. So the reason I started it, it's based on kind of one of my experiences as a child. So I just took the traditional 30-minute one-on-one lessons growing up, and at the very end of the lesson was the only time that I had to speed through my new pieces that I was supposed to learn for the week with my teacher. So I only had a couple minutes with that just to kind of get a brief overview, and I never really got a good handle on the music I was supposed to learn throughout the week and practice on my own at home. So whenever I got home to practice, I was always a little bit frustrated. Practicing always just kind of felt like homework. It was hard. I had to work through it on my own without much guidance throughout the week, because once you leave your lesson, you just have an entire week to, it's like best of luck, um, do this on your own. So in the accelerated piano program, we have it right here in our digital piano lab, and each digital piano has a set of headphones for the students, and then there's one teacher headset that can tune into any of the 6 digital pianos. So when the classes are full, there's actually 6 students and 2 teachers there at one time. So the way it works, when students arrive, they put on their headphones and they have a chance to kind of warm up the first piece without the teacher listening. And they have a ready light that they can just turn on at each station to indicate that they're ready. So this on its own, just kind of giving them the chance to warm up before the teacher hears, I think just takes a lot of pressure off of students coming into their lesson. I couldn't count how many times that before I started this program that a student would come into their lesson with me feeling rusty. They would just, let's say come right after school or right after another activity, and they would play it for me and it wouldn't be great. And they'd say like, well, I played it fine, yesterday when I wasn't here. So in the class, like I mentioned, students have time to warm it up, and that allows them to feel a little bit more comfortable before playing it for the teacher. So when the student's ready, the teacher will tune their headphones into that student and work with them one-on-one on the piece. So this class it's 60 minutes total. So I'd say after the first 15 to 20 minutes, a student might complete their review pieces from the previous week. So I think the big key here is that they have 40 to 45 minutes to get a jump start on their new pieces for the week. Now, I think, one of the reasons the stereotype is that students don't like practicing piano is sometimes because it feels hard and how traditional lessons have often been set up. So my goal during these last 40 to 45 minutes of the class is for students to get a really good handle on their new pieces for the week. So I do this by working with each student one-on-one, so they get a good handle on their music before they leave the lesson. And for some students, we might just work on one measure at a time or one line at a time, and I have them practice that before going on to the next section. And I check in with them from time to time, and that way, before they leave the class, the goal is that they should have a good handle on the music that they're supposed to practice for the week. So, just doing group piano classes this way, I've noticed that it solves a lot of common problems for both students and teachers. Number one is, like I mentioned, practicing at home doesn't feel like homework. So the students, they do the hard work with me, so they know how to play their pieces by the end of the lesson, and they feel more energized and ready to practice at home. So the time that they spend practicing is just working on getting it up to tempo and kind of playing it more smoothly. And this also, I think, prevents wrong notes from being ingrained, if they were to do all of the learning on their own. And it also develops good practice habits. So since students work on one section at a time, I can kind of always monitor the way they practice, not just mindlessly playing through beginning to end, but really having a goal-oriented practice session. So we're able to focus on that in the class. And then, students, they work independently and move at their own pace. In traditional group programs that follow a common group curriculum, the faster students might not be challenged enough, while other students might feel like they're falling behind or not able to keep up. So the way I operate this group, students are learning at their own pace, just like they would in a private lesson. So in the classes, it's all mixed levels. There might be a beginning 7-year-old who's in their first lesson, while there's a 10-year-old who's had a couple years of lessons. And then I think there's a lot of motivation by seeing what others can accomplish in the class. They have the chance to play their recital pieces in front of others in the class, so it's a way to kind of warm them up to playing in the big recitals. Here's just another view of the room where they might practice their playing their recital songs out loud on the baby grand. for the others in the class. And yeah, and the way that all of this has been set up, it has really resulted in students moving through their beginner books at a faster pace than the traditional 30-minute lesson. So this ultimately prepares them for entering private lessons when they start reaching the intermediate level. So this isn't something that students stay in forever, but they kind of graduate once they pass their beginning method books. So before I kind of open it up for any questions or anything, I thought I would just kind of give a little virtual tour of where we are. So this is the building in the Bishop Square Plaza. This door here is where you would enter. We share a common area lobby with Mercy Health next door, and then Robinson and Jones Law Office. So when you go in that door, this is the kind of the main lobby. You can either take the stairs or the elevator in the back to get to the second floor. So when you are upstairs or at the top, we're just down at the end of the hallway here. And when you walk in there, here's just our lobby. So parents are welcome to sit there during the child's lesson. We have Wi-Fi that they can get their own work done. There's coffee and water refreshments, so hopefully they appreciate that. And parents are also, they're welcome to sit in their child's lesson at any time as well. So, we encourage that for a lot of young students getting started, because parents can be a big help in their child learning at home. So there's 3 teaching studios. You can kind of see where they're all here. Here's 1, 2, and then 3's over here on the right side. I think you already saw these photos earlier. So this is Studio 1, where the accelerated piano classes are held, as well as private piano lessons, and really just however the schedule works out. So there could be guitar lessons, just any instrument, just depending on what's being used when. In Studio 2, here's where we have our drum sets, and it's an acoustic drum set. One of the things I think our neighbors below us appreciate is that there's a mute pack on the drums, so students get the acoustic drum feel without being a nuisance to the people below us. The only time we've had an issue with sound, we were doing a group class game called, I guess it was called Stinky Stockings. It's basically like musical hot potato, and no one wants to get stuck with the stinky stocking, so they throw it away. And if the music stopped, they had to reach into the sock and pull out a music theory question. But anyway, the students were jumping around, having a big time, and then Great Clips came up and they asked, like, "Are you guys having dance classes up here? What's going on?" So we learned to make it just a seated version of Stinky Stockings for the future. So yeah, so this is Studio 2, drum lessons, and again, any other instrument can be on that floor space as well. And then in the third studio, we have another upright acoustic piano. So this is where, you can have private one-on-one lessons when students reach that point, or for young students who maybe aren't ready for the group class as well. So those are the 3 studios. And yeah, I guess at this point, I'll just open it up if you have if anyone has any questions.